All right, we're here with the third video of the day. We're going to talk about some of the protesting that's happened, just kind of protests and rallies that have been happening across the country lately, because we've had a lot of good Trump rallies where, nothing violence happened and Tifa really hasn't shown up, so they seem to be, there's one that's happening right now we'll talk about as well from Candace Owens. But first we got from Politico, Black Lives Matter launches a political action committee. On the heels of nearly 6 months of nationwide demonstrations that sparked an international movement against systemic racism and police violence, Black Lives Matter is expanding its influence into politics by forming a political action committee, a highly unusual move for a grassroots organizing group with no central leadership. Yeah, it seems a little weird. I don't know why you guys are getting into this pretty extreme now, it seems. The Black Lives Matter PAC will formally roll out its programs as early as Monday, according to Patrisse Cullors, co-founder of Black Lives Matter. The committee plans to endorse a slate of candidates ahead of the general election, paying special attention to mayoral, county sheriff, and district attorney races. Oh, maybe is that because those are the ones you need in order to get your people out of jail every single time? You'll need the county sheriff, the mayor, and the district attorneys, because those are the people that keep releasing them back onto the streets after they destroy a good chunk of a town. We want to be able to not just speak in get out the vote language, Kohler said in an interview with Politico. Black Lives Matters is launching our PAC so we can talk directly to voters about who we think that they should be voting for and what we think they should be voting on. Yeah, I don't think I want Black Lives Matter to be running all political laws that, get made. That sounds horrible. They want stuff like destroying the nuclear family. They'll end up abolishing the police. Yeah, we'll end up turning in probably to a socialist country, maybe communism, because a lot of the top organizers for Black Lives Matter like to display that they're socialist and communist for some reason. But then they claim they're also anti-fascist, so they're just anti-Trump fascist, I guess, if that makes somewhat sense. Well, maybe to them, because they think that Trump is a fascist, but, really they're just anti-Trump and then just say he's fascist. They just want to be the ones in power, so really they want to be the fascists. That's all it really comes down to. They just want the power. We got then from Wisconsin, protesters face heavy dose of tear gas and pepper balls. We've got about 28, I believe, were arrested last night. Protesters in Wisconsin faced tear gas and pepper balls Friday night as unrest continued following the death of a black teenager. The protests ignited earlier this week after prosecutors announced Wauwatosa police officer Joseph Mensah wouldn't face charges for shooting and killing Alvin Cole, 17, outside the Mayfair Mall on February 2nd. Officials said Mensah, who was black, had a reasonable belief that deadly force was necessary when responding to a reported disturbance at the shopping center. Cole was the third person Mensah had fatally shot since becoming an officer, and the death had sparked periodic protests in Wauwatosa and elsewhere in the Milwaukee area. Mensah is a 14-year veteran of the force. Yeah, and we know that they were also going to people's homes and destroying their windows. And police weren't coming. There was a 7-year-old woman who also couldn't leave her home, terrified, crying in her bed, thinking that she's probably going to be attacked by these people. Just before 10 p.m. Friday, the confrontation with police escalated. Videos circulating on Twitter show police charging in a line toward protesters chanting "No justice, no peace." Footage then showed the crowd retreating as gas was deployed, with some screaming that it felt like a war. Yeah, no, not really. Heavy dose of tear gas and pepper balls deployed. This is the worst I ever got it, Ricardo Torres, a reporter from the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, tweeted. Yeah, and it's gonna... if the regular, just barely irritating gas isn't gonna stop them anymore, they're gonna have to use something just a tad bit stronger. The gas was so overwhelming, Torres tweeted, that it took him a solid 10 minutes of gasping for air before he was able to get solid amounts of oxygen. It also looked like you decided to, just stand in it like a maniac, too. But, I probably would have backed off a few feet, probably not just be, in the gas. But, that's kind of me. On Wednesday, Milwaukee County District Attorney John Chisholm, in a 14-page letter, said evidence showed Cole fled from police carrying a stolen 9mm handgun. He cited squad car audio evidence, along with testimony from Mensa and 2 other officers that he said showed Cole had fired a shot while fleeing and refused commands to drop the gun. Wauwatosa officers aren't equipped with body cameras. So yeah, it looks like we'll go over the some of the arrests that kind of happened. Wauwatosa on the third night of protests. On the third night of protests in Wauwatosa, following the DA's decision not to charge Officer Joseph Mensa in the fatal shooting of 17-year-old Evan Cole, local law enforcement arrested a total of 28 adults and used tear gas to disperse crowds on October 9th. According to Wauwatosa police, law enforcement personnel made 4 unlawful assemble announcements to the crowd before using other tactics like tear gas, pepper balls, and paintballs. Police said these tactics were only used in self-defense as there were small children present in the crowds. Because of the size of the crowds with dozens of people on foot and in vehicles, police say the National Guard was deployed. By the time crowds were contained and dispersed, Wauwatosa police personnel say they recovered a handgun, materials to start fires, including lighter fluid and a stolen vehicle. Of the 28 arrests that night, 2 were felony arrests, 1 was a misdemeanor, and 25 were municipal arrests. Police say the Wauwatosa Fire Department evaluated 2 adults who were arrested for minor injuries. Wauwatosa police put out a statement saying, "We can appreciate the anger and frustration that exists among those closely affected by recent events. We continue to ask that all citizens comply with the emergency order in place by remaining away from the city of Wauwatosa public spaces during the hours of 7 p.m. and 6 a.m. each night to ensure the safety of all members of our community. This order expires on Monday, October 12th at 6 a.m. It feels kind of bad. I feel bad for the children that are there that kind of have to get sucked into their parents' just nonsense. Maybe you should leave your kids at home. Maybe not take them to a protest where you know that there's going to be like tear gas and stuff, and you know that destruction was happening the night prior. It's probably not a good idea to bring your children. Just saying. Just saying. They don't need to be there. We got JayZ offers to pay bail bonds and citation fees for protesters arrested in Wauwatosa. JayZ's Team Rock has offered to pay the bail bonds and citation fees for all the protesters arrested in Wauwatosa Thursday night. Team Rock is the social justice arm of JayZ's entertainment company, Rock Nation. The group also funded billboards calling for justice for Jacob Blake in the Kenosha area and attempted to raise similar billboards for Alvin Cole in Wauwatosa, but they were apparently denied by the owner of the billboards, identified by Team Rock as the Lamar Advertising Company. Man, it's kind of gross that you calling for justice for Jacob Blake when we know he was not a good guy. Like, he did some very bad things to a woman that I can't repeat on YouTube. And then returned when she tried to go to the police and threatened her, and then tried to steal her car while her children were in it. That's when he got shot. So, yeah, Jacob Blake is not a good guy. JayZ, you might want to reevaluate what you're doing here because, yeah, a lot of you celebrities seem to want to bail out these rioters, want to keep this destruction going. You can spend your money to bail them out, but you can't spend the money to help feed starving and homeless people? Yeah, you guys are pathetic. Celebrities are trash. We got from Breitbart, this is now going over to New York. Governor Cuomo, I don't care about your religion. You have to follow the rules of the state. This is in over the, Orthodox Jewish community deciding to protest the lockdowns because they're fed up, and it seems almost like Cuomo has been targeting them. Yo, I don't know why you keep saying that you're so inclusive and diverse, yet you seem to not give a damn about the Jews. It's a little sketchy there, Cuomo. Friday, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo responded to religious groups filing separate federal lawsuits against him over his new restrictions limiting attendance at religious gatherings amid a spike in cases in some New York City neighborhoods. Cuomo told CNN Newsroom acknowledged that it is a complicated situation because of different cultural aspects, but said that everyone has to follow the rules no matter their religion. They are not following the rules. We know what happens when you don't follow the rules. Well, you know what, Cuomo? You're not following the rules either. You're allowing Black Lives Matter and Antifa to, protest and do whatever they want. Why is it okay for them to... Seriously, why is it okay for them, but if anybody else wants to do anything, it's the worst possible thing in the world. And why do the governors need to then go super hard on the people? Why? Because they're trying to own us. The establishment doesn't want to lose that sweet, sweet control over us. That's you know what? I'm tired of their grasp. We got Candace Owens. She's got the Blexit. It's pretty much new to me. I haven't been keeping track of Candace Owens too much, so I had to kind of look up what Blexit was. Basically, it's just basically a rally. It's for Trump. It's to kind of keep things going. And it was peaceful, it seems. People spoke. Then they went home. It was happy. It was yay, yay, rah, rah, rah. And then that was it. It doesn't need to be something crazy, and then it doesn't need to lead to rioting afterwards. We also got from The Blaze, a black motorist goes ballistic on Black Lives Matter protesters blocking street. I'm blacker than you. Black motorist is captured on video chewing on a large group of Black Lives Matter protesters who were blocking the street Thursday in Tacoma, Washington. The clip initially shows the motorist wearing a red shirt, jeans, and dark baseball cap standing next to the driver's side door of a blue pickup truck at an intersection that the protesters appear to have blocked. The protesters are yelling at him, and he's yelling right back. And then someone tries to start an altercation. They seem to get in a little bit of a tussle near his car, and then more people kind of come in support of the guy in black. And yeah, I think people are starting to get fed up with Black Lives Matter, especially when they're just continuously blocking the streets and getting in people's way and just being random, just a-holes, really. They're just kind of being a-holes at this point to random citizens, blocking traffic and just being like, no, we're just going to be here and we're going to be cool because we're edgy and we're, Except you're not, and then you guys get run over because you guys are dumb. We got some news from Yelp. Antifa begins compiling lists of businesses to add to Yelp's racism blacklist. Oh, we all knew this was coming. After Yelp announced plans to place alerts on businesses accused of racist behavior, an Antifa group responsible for organizing the violent Portland riots is now compiling a blacklist of pro-police and anti-Black Lives Matter companies. With @Yelp announcing it is going to put notices on businesses accused of racist behavior, one #Antifa group responsible for organizing the violent protests in Portland is now compiling a list. There's probably going to end up being way more lists coming out. And yeah, they're just going to start putting a scarlet letter on all these businesses. That's when it's going to start happening. And then they're going to be attacked if they have the scarlet letter. Black Lives Matter will come after them. Antifa will come after them. And then what's going to happen? Are the business owners going to defend themselves? And if they try to defend themselves, are they just going to be arrested by police? Because eventually the people aren't gonna stand for this. When they start coming for them in the daytime, everything's gonna kick off. You guys are starting to get rain while at night, but people are starting to fight back as well. I mean, we've got there was a small Black Lives Matter march through a random neighborhood, and the whole neighborhood decided to come out and start screaming at them to go away. We don't want you here. Nobody wants you anymore. Go away. You're not doing anything beneficial. We also then got from Breitbart, Biden blames Trump for Gretchen Whitmer kidnap attempt without evidence. Why can't the president just say stop? Yeah, and it really seems more like it was the other side that was doing it, considering one of the guys was an anarchist. He was bashing Trump. He was anti-government. He wasn't really quite Trump's usual wheelhouse supporter. One of the other guys that was also arrested had been involved in Black Lives Matter protests and seemed to have supported them quite a good deal. So I wonder what side they're really for. Maybe they're just anti-government and they were really like, maybe Gretchen Whitmer is just, hard government. And maybe they were trying to get rid of her. Not saying they should have. I'm definitely not saying they should have. That's you should never try to kidnap anybody. But now the media is just trying to smear any kind of militia in any way, and they're trying to basically pin it all on Trump. When at this point the evidence points to pretty much almost the complete opposite. I mean, who's to say that we couldn't theorize that maybe she tried to set it up herself to then try to blame Trump? And then just got 13 people arrested because, you know, who cares? They don't give a shit about people. Excuse my language. And then for our last bit, we got Lori Lightfoot on Gretchen Whitmer. Kidnapping plot, all roads lead back to Donald Trump. See, like I said, all they care about is just trying to put Trump down. Trump, and they don't give a damn about the facts. And Lori Lightfoot, you got way more problems to deal with. Dozens and dozens of people are dying per week in Chicago. And I don't like that because I'm nearby. And I don't really like that. You shouldn't let these people die, Lori Lightfoot. You shouldn't let these people die. Yet you are. And on that note, I'm going to leave it there. It's the last video of the day. I will see you then tomorrow. You guys have a good one. Bye-bye.